Welcome to The Engaging Life, a podcast about using engagement equity to improve your relationship building skills in your personal and professional life. And now, here are your hosts, Brandon Suba and Angela Cheney.
Hello, Brandon.
What? Angie, what's going on?
Pretty much the same thing that was going on
All the time.
10 minutes ago.
Oh, no, we record these.
Oh, you're right.
Each week.
That's
fresh
correct.
and new.
Correct.
Every week. Every week.
Well, welcome everyone to the Engaging Life podcast. As usual, I'm going to start talking about marketing or advertising and then start getting into psychology because I just can't help myself. But that's what you're all here for, right?
It is my weekly therapist session, so thank you.
I'm very glad.
I can't wait to discover more about myself.
But this episode really should be more about marketing than some of my episodes are.
Okay.
So if you are in marketing, if you own a business, or if you work for the marketing department for your business, I think that you'll find some very good tips and tricks in this week's episode.
I would say you have the credibility to provide the quality.
I would hope so.
Of marketing. Me too.
At this point.
Yeah, at this point.
I would hope so. So a lot of these are going to fall into the engagement equity principles. You know, so a lot of, as with anything in life, is there anything that's new anymore? You know, it's the way things are rephrased. It's the way things are applied. So a lot of this does fall into what the engagement equity tips and tricks are as well, but are just said in a different way. What I really should say is the engagement equity tips and tricks are this said in a different way because I'm sure this stuff came first.
Yeah.
You know.
But everybody learns differently.
Exactly. So. Exactly. And you state something differently, and sometimes you reach people that, if stated in a different way, you would not reach.
Yeah, like I don't like that word.
It's a tough word to say.
I know what it means.
So before you get any more curious, the word is reciprocity. The reciprocity principle is the first tip or trick that we are going to talk about in marketing. And reciprocity is just a different form of the word reciprocal.
I do not like
Don't like that word. I
no.
think that, say it 5 times fast.
Nope, reciprocal.
Which is basically just saying that if you give something to somebody, they will then want to give something back to you. So unfortunately, that can fall into one of the no-no places of building relationships, which is tit for tat, which we talk about in engagement equity, which means if I do something for you, it is now your turn to do something for me, and I'm not going to do anything else for you until you do something for me, which is a very bad way to go about life for a number of reasons. So I don't want you to think that the reciprocity principle is saying that you give somebody to somebody, you give something to somebody, they will immediately give back. What I want to really get across here is the giving of value. If you give value to somebody, and when it comes to marketing, it's when you give value to your customers, to your prospects. If you give before you ask for anything, you'll be more likely to receive. And so you can use this in a couple of different ways. I do want to give some concrete examples in this episode because I know I talk about ideas and you know, things like that a lot. So I do want to give some examples. The first is with your social media posting and giving value through your social media posting at an 80-20 ratio. You're giving value 80% of the time. You're promoting yourself or doing an ask only 20% of the time. So you're giving value by educating. You're giving value by entertaining. So those are a couple ways you can give value. And so then when that 20% comes, then the people who you have been reaching feel like they have to reciprocate by doing what you have asked. So just for an example, say that your first post of the week, you tell a joke about your industry. The second post of the week, you link to an article that gives some great facts about your industry. The third post of the week, you talk up somebody that you've worked with. And then the fourth, you ask people to go visit your new website.
Okay.
So you have given value, value, value. Now you have an ask. With the reciprocity principle, people are going to be like, okay, they gave me stuff, haven't asked for anything before. I can take this one little step and go click on their website and take a look.
So it's and correct me if I'm wrong, which I know you will, but it's a fast way to make those deposits and then be able to do an ask. And we've talked about this too. That's not a crazy heavy ask. It's more a little bit of time.
Right.
It's not come and invest $2 million with me.
Exactly. It's a small ask.
So for the little hits, it's easier for me to then commit to go clicking the website.
Right.
Okay.
And all of these are going to kind of build on each other because you'll see a lot of similarities between some of these tips and tricks. Another way to use the reciprocity principle, boy, when you put the second word in there, it becomes even harder to say, is to give something away. So say you do ask people to come to your website and you're going to ask them for a larger something. Mm-hmm. You're going to ask them to do business with you. You can give something away first. And so what you need to ask for next is their contact information.
Right.
And so with the reciprocity principle, if you are going to ask for somebody's contact information, which obviously you're going to use to market to them.
You should.
Nobody should be under an impression that you're going to use it to invite them out on a date or something, then, which does happen, but then give them something. So this is where your white papers come in. And a white paper is just basically a glorified press release that gives them some information that they want.
Okay.
So maybe we could send out a white paper on top 10 do's and don'ts when posting on social media. So just a giveaway that people can actually use. People do that. Some people give away ebooks. Just give them something, or discount. You see that a lot. Give me your email address, 10% on your first order.
Oh, I see that. All the shopping places do that.
There you go. Reciprocity principle.
Okay, yeah.
Yep. Give them something, I'll give you something.
So with the 10%, I exit until I actually order something, though. Because I'm worried I'm going to sign up and then I lose it.
Lose it. Yep. And I have lost it before.
Okay, good.
So that's user friendliness of a Shopify sort of website, because I have shopped on some that are terrible. Like that you try and then you can't use it and then the code doesn't work and then right. So if you're going to do something like that, make sure that your site is set up to accommodate that and make it very, very easy.
Or as the consumer, make sure you're ready to buy.
Right.
Don't put your email.
Or use the Capital One little add-on that just immediately scans for codes.
I have Capital. I don't use half the perks on my credit card.
You don't even have to be a credit. Now it looks like I'm promoting Capital One, but you don't have to be a credit card member to do that.
Really?
But just understand that the perks go somewhere else, even if you do have the credit card. It took me a long time to figure out. I'm like, I keep getting these, but then I don't know where they go. It's its own site.
Oh, okay.
Anyway.
All right, right.
So we digress. So reciprocity principle, number 1. Second one, I think you're going to be able to say these words, Brandon.
Okay.
Foot in the door technique.
Foot in the door technique. That comes from my old sales days. I just need to get my foot in the door.
Mm-hmm. And so this is similar, but it's basically making small asks. And it's also stair-step principle is another way that I've heard this talked about. So I'll give a good example of how this is used incorrectly.
Oh, good.
So I signed up to, I think it was a woman's hormone, gut health, that whole thing that's all the rage now. And I totally get into that hippie stuff, as my husband will be happy to tell you.
Yes,
I'm all into the hippie stuff. But I started following this site or following their social media, and went to the site and was reading the articles and things like that. It was all very interesting. I gave my email address. I got the white paper.
Okay.
Got
the list.
And it was like I think it was a 2-week detox diet or something like that. Oh. Very useful. Okay. So they use the foot in the door technique and the reciprocity principle correctly up till this point, right?
Right.
I've gotten something free. I like it. I'm kind of getting on board with these people. Guess what they hit me with next?
Buy now.
A $2,500 coaching program.
Wow. Was the $2,500 discounted from like $3,000 or something?
I don't even think there was a discount.
Wow.
But
they just jumped right in.
What happened was they got their foot in the door, they used reciprocity, and then they completely ignored the stair-step principle and hit me with the hugest ask they could.
Mm-hmm.
And I completely stopped interacting with their brand altogether.
I've done that many times.
Like, yep. So you went from free to $2,500, which, to be quite honest with you, if they would have done it the right way, it's possible I would have 6 months, 7 months, 8 months down the line paid that. Mm-hmm. So it should have been, okay, you've done this, you're still on board. Now for $59.99, we will give you a more in-depth diet plan or something, just a little bit more of an ask. So they needed that tiered asking to get you up to that big buy.
Right.
And especially when you're doing online marketing where you don't have the chance, they didn't have the chance to be face-to-face with me ever. We're never going to meet unless I did the big coaching thing and then we could do video calls. But they weren't going to be able to earn that huge ask any other way. So they needed to do the small asks.
And you've talked about it in the past too. There's two different types of industries when it comes to the ask. One is something that you've invested a little bit of money, no big deal. $2,500, that's a chunk of change.
Yeah,
it's a chunk of change. So I like how your process is lead them up to that big dollar amount, and think about how much credibility you build with here's a more advanced diet plan. Here's one Zoom meeting so you can see what that's like. So then that really brings the value. And that's when you're like, well, gosh, if we would have went that route, $2,500 would have been flying right out the door.
It completely changes the way you think about things.
But then it's the instant gratification, right? As a sales, got to make the sale. $2,500. I've educated.
Let's just do it. And maybe one out of 500 will do it.
Oh, I hate the numbers. Yeah.
Right. So... but what they're ignoring there is the customer journey. Because there's like the 8-step customer journey that good marketers and good businesses lead them on this journey, where actually the second step of that journey, they've already purchased something. And so there's 6 more steps that come after the sale. And so many companies stop at number 2. Made the sale, done.
Yep, got it.
Moving on to the next one. But when you use the customer journey, when you use the stair-step principle, you've got your foot in the door, then you just keep building, because then you can lead them all the way around to advocate. And advocate is when you have your customers selling for you.
Right.
Which that is the ultimate. But if you stop at 2...
You've missed your mark.
All right, next trick. I was trying to say tip and trick. I almost said trip.
Oh, next trip? We're going to go down.
Memory lane. Is to create scarcity and urgency.
I love scarcity mindset.
And so this is, again, I'm going to go back to online selling because this is where you see it a lot, but I'll give some other examples that are not online selling. There is a website that a lot of us girls here at the office shop on because it's very cheap. So does your wife.
Oh, Shein, I believe.
I think we pronounce it 3 different ways.
Cheyenne.
Nobody really knows how to pronounce it. But you get on there and you'll look at something and it says...
Only 4 left. I'm just guessing because I see that on Amazon and I've fallen for it.
3 left. 1 left. Buy now. And it does. You're just like, oh my goodness. If I don't get this right now, it's going to be gone. Is it ever gone? No. Of course it's not. But it creates the scarcity and the urgency. So you can do that, or you can do, we're only offering 10 of these deals. We can only offer it at this price to 10 customers this month. You could do something like that.
So I want to ask you about from the marketing side. How many? Well, you're not going to give me that. Have you ever worked with a client that did that? Right? We'll say this month only. It's $9.99 special, and then the month is over, and they wanted to keep offering it.
You have to be super, super careful with this one because it can easily ruin your credibility.
I get so mad when I take advantage of a deal and then the deal just goes on forever because then I think we talked about it in the last podcast. I don't feel special now. I don't feel like that deal was for me.
And you feel like they're lying.
Yeah.
And this is also a tough one because you have to worry about your brand and you have to make sure that you're on brand with this. So if you are doing a special, if you are establishing your brand as we're the best, we have the best experts, we have all this, we're worth the money, and then you turn around and do a Black Friday deal that's like 80% off, you're completely flying in the face of your own brand. So this one is a tough one. The way you use it correctly is to be honest and to say, maybe our bandwidth this month, we can take on 2 websites at a special discounted rate or something like that, because we do have 2 spots we need to fill. But once they are filled. And we're being honest about it.
Yep.
Hey, we have 2 spots. If you want to do a 3-page website, we can offer you a 10% discount this month only because, and tell them why. And then the next month comes around and somebody says, hey, I want that deal. no, we really only had the 2 spots and they got taken. If we ever have that again, we'll let you know.
See, and I think that is more impactful than extending the deal to that person. Because, and I think scarcity is funny here because to me, scarcity mindset is the there's not enough. Where, and I know that this is not enough, but this is it won't be there when I want it, right? And so to me, when you extend that out, or when you take it away and you say, no, we can't do it now, they get that scarcity of, gosh, next time there's something
I'm going to jump on it.
I better jump on it. Where if it's just, no, we extend it again and again and again, like I swear every mattress company I've ever seen is doing a mattress sale this month. What month is it? Doesn't matter. I'm doing a sale.
Right.
And to me, it's like, no, those are your normal prices.
Yeah.
It's not a sale. And it loses the value.
And also, no one is ever going to pay full price.
Right.
No one's ever going.
Whole nother podcast.
Right.
Hold on.
So while this one works, you have to be very, very careful with it.
I like it in the midst. Back in my countertop days, we would get a deal on a slab of granite.
Sure.
And we would extend that deal out. And I would tell people, look, I'm not joking. We have 5 slabs. And if you don't get it now, I can't offer this price to you when you call me 2 months from now. Like, I like, you tell them why.
Yeah.
Like, here's the truth. This is not, you don't have to sign today, but prices are going to go up next week.
And you're being honest, and it's only this one, and this is why. If they came in, a week later, it's likely gone. And so that builds credibility for your business. And also, you probably get it sold right away.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So scarcity and urgency, tough one, but it works. Next one, create a tribe and an enemy.
Oh.
So this is social identity theory. People like to be part of a group. They like to be part of the in group.
Of course.
People love that. So creating a tribe that would be like with social media. If you sign up for XYZ, we're going to put you in this private Facebook group where only the people who signed up for XYZ get to be in. And now all of a sudden we are creating a tribe of exclusive people who spent money with us and are of a certain type. Now we have a tribe, which you can do really easily now with social media.
Yeah, really easily.
You can do it there. You can do it in person. Now that you've signed up for XYZ, you get invited to our annual shareholders meeting.
We got one of those big things.
Yeah, anything like that you can help people create a tribe of like-minded individuals who are all advocates of your brand. It's a win-win. And
I want to touch on that because I talked about a networking event that I went to that I hated, if you recall, like our earlier days of when we started this podcast. And one thing they did, though, is they did give the current members a VIP area. Now, as we're talking about hold true to what you're, I sat in the VIP area and I am not a member. Let's be very clear. But that was the tribe. And you know what? Those people walked around and they were huge advocates for the organization.
Yep. And so what's the best way to strengthen a tribe? Give them an enemy. So that's that's where you get into your Mac versus PC, McDonald's versus Burger King,
Pepsi versus Coke.
Yeah, anything like that. Or good service versus bad service. Hey, we know you come to us and pay the premium to get XYZ. These other people don't care, and so they're going to give their business to Geico. Yep. Because they don't care. So again, this is one you have to be careful with. We don't ever advocate that any of our clients bash the competition.
Right.
But there are ways that you can do it, to kind of gently help strengthen the tribe by giving them an enemy.
I feel if you're consistent on what you stand for, the enemy will create themselves.
That is also very true.
And then they've done it to themselves and others have made their own decision without any influence on your side. But that's when your competition is beating you out, stick to what you're doing. Unless it's really bad. If what you're doing just isn't working, that's a totally different story. But if you stick to what your guns are, eventually that other person will not be able to offer this discount or whatever it is. And
true colors always come out.
That's right.
Yeah. And that goes back to the customer journey too, because the end goal of that, I don't know if it's 8 steps. I'll have to look at it again.
We were at 6 earlier, so... 6 or 8.
Now it's 10. I don't know. I think it's around 8.
27 steps to get your customer.
On the next episode, it will be 1,000 steps. When you get to the end of it, you've created a tribe.
Okay.
So you've created your advocates who are now selling for you. That's your tribe.
Got it.
Okay. So the next tip is reduce options. So one of the best examples here is the Cheesecake Factory. How big is their menu?
There's a documentary on that stupid thing.
Oh, my
it's
goodness.
roughly, what is it, 45 pages?
It's insane. And when you give that many options, people can't choose. They can't, number one, they can't choose. Number two, can you tell me, other than cheesecake, what type of food that restaurant sells?
I've had chicken there and pasta.
Because they sell everything.
They do.
They don't really have a brand.
Nope.
I guess their huge menus
It's-
kind of become their brand.
Like I said, there's a documentary on it.
Right.
There's a whole mind shift, what they're trying to do.
Right. Well,
I don't like it. I'm not part of that tribe.
Possibly it works for Cheesecake Factory. For most businesses, it does not work. Because again, the easy button that we talked about in our last one, you have to make choices easy on people. And when you give them too many choices, not only are they going to have trouble making a decision, but then the buyer's remorse is a lot more likely. Because they're like, I chose one of 50 options.
What if it wasn't the right
Yeah.
one?
Yeah, there were 50 more.
Yeah.
And so even, us, we sell websites. And obviously there are a ton of different ways you can price a website. We can do 2-page, 3-page, all the way up to 100-page with this, or we can do graphics. I mean, there's so many choices. We've narrowed it down to 3 packages.
That's awesome.
Good, better, best. Because people don't want all those options.
No.
Even
Nope.
if they think they do, they really don't. Because then they're going to sign on the dotted line and say, oh, maybe I should have added a 6th page. Oh, maybe I didn't really need that animation.
I was going to say, I feel people have more of I didn't need all of the stuff that I paid for. Can we cut it down a little now? Because like you said, they think they want it. And maybe they do need it, but you're just not there yet.
And as a business owner and as marketers, we have to know that we know better and in a respectful way.
Correct.
We know how you're going to feel best about this decision and how to move things along. Yeah. And that is not offering 500 options. It's offering 3 very easy to understand options that people can choose from. So I wanted to read this just because it's a cool study, but it really, really talks to this reduce options. A study about choice was conducted by, I can't even pronounce her name.
It's Shein.
Let's go with Shein. Sheena Iyengar, I believe it is. They were offered a free sample of jam. One day there were 24 flavors to choose from and 6 on a different day. So one day, 24 flavors. The other day, 6. Okay? When there were 24 flavors, 20% more people stopped to take a sample. So that's an increase, right? Mm-hmm. However, only 3% of those people made a purchase. Ooh. Okay? When only 6 different jams were on offer, 30% of people made a purchase after trying a sample. Okay? So that just goes to show when there's all these choices, people are going to be like, I could do this, and I'm not going to do any, and I'm out. When there's 6, it's, okay, I liked this one and this one. The others, no, I'm going to go with this one. So there's a lot of studies that have been done on this. Reduce your options. Make it very, very simple for people to choose something that's going to be right for them.
So I see this a lot in the food business, but what I call this the Pepper Jack effects.
Okay.
Because Pepper Jack Grill, it started here actually in Omaha.
It did?
Yeah, like it started here. They sold
that.
it, but it's Philly sandwiches. I mean, you can get a Philly sandwich in many, many places, but they have meat, chicken, shrimp, and you can put it on a bun, on rice, in a wrap, or on salad. Done. And their menu literally was 3 columns. Mm-hmm. And I loved it. Now I got the same dang thing every time, but I just noticed, and they have great success because it's simple. You're not coming here to get your 700 different things.
How popular Raising Cane's is.
Oh, and that's chicken.
They have like 3 options.
Chicken. Yep.
Total.
Yes.
I hate it because
I like it.
But I'm a little strange in my eating habits. I want something different every time, and it's got to be weird.
Oh, Lord. Gosh.
Oh, yeah.
That's funny because I'm the exact opposite. I can eat the same thing. Well, you know me and ramen. Uh-huh. Years.
And my
I love that
husband's
stuff.
like you, so...
Find something. If it's good, you just eat it all the time. So when you go to the restaurant, you'll never get the same thing twice.
Sometimes I will, but I absolutely like to try different things, but I try a lot of different restaurants. Oh. So there are some restaurants where we'll go back and get our favorite, but I haven't been there for however long because I've gone to all these others.
Right.
You will never, ever see me going to Raising Cane's every day of the week for lunch. It's just...
Yeah, that would get boring. Yeah. So on the opposite side of this, though, I learned this in the coffee business at coffee houses. to know when a coffee house is struggling is when they start adding things. So if you go to the same little daily grind down, and they all have their coffee machine, and then one day now they have soup. Oh, and now we have sandwiches.
Now we're going to try new stuff because we're struggling.
Yep. And if you notice, so I learned that at the younger age, and Starbucks had no food whatsoever. Well, the pastries. Well, now Starbucks does food, but look how fast they can produce it.
Yeah.
It didn't hinder their service, which I know that's very important in the Starbucks world. What happens in your local coffee shop that can barely employ 2 people is now I have to make your drink, make a sandwich for you. You're in the drive-through, and it can really kill you because you're actually losing revenue because you're losing customers versus if you just keep it simple.
Right.
You can produce it quickly. Boom. That's what people want.
Yeah, absolutely. So the last one I want to talk about really piggybacks on everything, kind of brings it together, is using social proof. And using social proof is basically somebody else has already used this, done this, bought this, and they love it and it made their life better. So you can do it too. And the big one to use this, testimonials. Testimonials and online reviews is social proof. So if you can put it out there in front of your prospects, hey, we sold XYZ to this person and they loved it. It was the best product they ever had, or they were very happy with our service. It's going to make it a lot easier for those next people to make the choice. Because people want to be part of a tribe. They also want to make safe decisions.
Yeah.
And to them, if somebody else has already used you and it went well, it becomes a much safer decision to use you. So testimonials, online reviews, those are important. Media coverage, that can be seen as social proof. So if you can get a story written about you, if you can get, a little news clip about your business somehow, as long as it's not negative,
Well,
that's the opposite of social proof, then that's really good. And I totally just lied to everyone.
that wasn't the last one,
wasn't
was
the
it?
last
Okay,
one.
well, then I'll
That
keep this
wasn't
very
the
simple.
last one.
The car wash I like to go to, there's a sign on the set, and it says, if you're not happy with our service, please tell us. And it gives you a phone number and a website. And it goes, if you are happy with our service, please tell everyone.
Right.
And I'm like, that's so awesome.
Yep, absolutely. So the last one,
Bonus,
I promise,
the bonus.
bonus tip is using the nudge theory. Yes,
I
like
nudged you.
that. And the nudge theory is basically using indirect encouragement and enablement rather than direct instruction and enforcement. So there's a ton of different ways that you can use this. So let's take this out of the context of marketing.
Okay.
So if you are going to use direct instruction or enforced change when you are dieting, you would count calories.
Okay.
If you were going to use the nudge theory, you'd use a smaller plate.
Oh.
You see the difference there?
I would rather do the nudge theory than count calories.
One of them is this is what you must do, this is right, this is wrong, and it's very judgmental. You're eating too many calories. The other ones are like a trick. Well, you use a smaller plate, looks like you filled it up, you naturally eat fewer
By
calories.
default, yeah.
You're achieving the same goal, it's easier, and doesn't make you feel like crap.
Huh.
Okay, so there's one way. Showing how many people have bought a certain product is using nudge theory in marketing. So I used to be on this essential oil site, as we have stated many times over. I am a hippie.
Yeah.
But in it, you would be on the site and you would see things fly up. John in Vancouver just bought the rosemary.
Yeah. Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
That's using the nudge theory because it's not saying you must buy this now. It's not using scarcity, only 3 left. It's simply other people are buying it. Other people are buying it. Hey, you should buy it too.
So I learned this in my early sales days as the sell with peer pressure? Sell with peer pressure instead of pressure. And what his big thing is when you're selling a color, right? Oh, well, almost everybody that gets counted, they're getting this color right now.
Yes.
And I loved it because, you're not forcing anything, but now those people
You've made it easy.
Well, and they default to the scarcity mindset on their own then. Oh, everybody else is doing it. Well, gosh.
Well, it's everything.
If I don't get it
it's
too
social
now.
proof.
Yep.
It's tribe and it's scarcity. It's
Yeah.
all of them. It's
and
like
without
all of
being
them.
super, I think nudge theory is my favorite.
You like it?
I do.
So here's another way to use it. Put your most attractive offer next to ones that are not as attractive.
Ooh.
So again, this is like our websites, the good, better, best. Mm-hmm. Guess what we kind of want everyone to pick?
The better.
Right.
Yep.
And knowing that nobody's going to want the cheapest option. Okay, some people do, but most people are not going to choose the cheapest option. Most people are not going to choose the most expensive option. And usually that better option is when you put the big badge on it, best value, something like that.
Yep.
That's using the nudge theory. So you put up things beside it that you probably don't even really want them to buy, and you make one pretty obviously the best option.
David Buster's. When you fill up your card, you can do like 10, 15, 20. But if you do 23,
Yep.
we give you these extra and guess what I do every time?
Me too.
Get the bonus.
Yep, you got to. Otherwise, like, and I've even not got it before, and I've come back, and my husband's like, "You got the bonus ones, right?" And I'll be like,
No, I missed out on those.
No.
I think my sales, like my concept of sales, is the nudge theory.
Yeah,
That's how I like to sell.
It's very, very, very powerful. Default options are another example of nudge theory. So, say you have shipping options, and one's already marked. And they have to actually change which one. Most people aren't going to do it. They're just going to go with the default option.
You know what Amazon does is defaults you to use the gift card if you upload one. So then they're getting that money. So you're
Yep.
not just interesting.
Yep.
Interesting.
So the big thing with the nudge theory, if you're using some of these techniques, and really if you're using any of these techniques, is to make sure you're doing A/B testing. And what A/B testing is in marketing means you're running things that are very similar, but with only one difference. So you can see which one performs better, and then you tweak and repeat. So like with Facebook ads, you run 2 ads. Either one of them has a different call to action, or one of them has a different image. You run them concurrently and see which pulls better. And then you drop the one that's not, do more of the one that is.
Right.
Or you can do it in a different way. You can run the exact same ad on 2 different days of the week, see which one pulls better, 2 different times, see which one pulls better, So what it is running 2 versions of something with one change between them so that you know which part is
working.
making.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then continue to A/B test at all times while you are repeating the one that's working the best and tweaking that other one to keep running against it. So those are just some marketing tips and techniques. A lot of these you can use in your personal life. Nudge theory, I can think a lot of ways to
I'm sure.
use that
Yep.
one to get somebody to take out the trash or other things. But yes, marketing as life. Maybe that should have been the name of our podcast.
Nope. We've already branded all this.
Version 2.
Nope. We have
coming.
Nope.
in
Nope. We're not.
2025.
Nope. That's not happening.
I'll nudge him into thinking that's a good idea at some point. But hopefully you'll be able to use some of these. As always, we would love to answer any questions you have. Comment, please. Give us a
Share,
review.
reviewing.
All that good stuff. We would love that so we can keep our podcast going and keep giving you great ideas like this.
Yes, I like that.
Absolutely. And subscribe so that you know when our next podcast comes out. But thank you so much for listening and now watching. And we look forward to talking to you next time.